G'day guys, TropicalHD here and welcome back to Springwood. Today's episode, I'm broadcasting from my brand new studio. Oh yeah, in my brand new house. Oh yeah. I'm really excited to be here actually. I'm no longer cramped in my tiny apartment. I've got my own studio at the back and it's awesome. The only problem is I'm internetless, so I actually don't even know when this is going to be uploaded, and I guess if you're listening to it, it is, but currently, as I speak, it's not. In terms of the actual time-lapse, I'll be putting in more wealthy suburbs and kind of fleshing out the wealthier residents of Springwood, which is something that I've been really interested in doing currently. And of course, stick around for the pretty cinematics at the end of the episode. So kicking off this time-lapse, I'm actually working on another canal, and I really didn't think I'd be working on another canal for a while, but as I started shaping this area that I wanted to develop, all the residential areas, I kind of needed a bit of a boundary and a bit of a guideline to sort of know where I was going to finish up. And so I figured I had to kind of really shape this canal and get it going, get it looking how I really wanted it to. If you're not that familiar with my city, Springwood is very much inspired by Los Angeles and New York, but these canals in particular, I'm kind of getting a lot of information from like the canals in Los Angeles, and you know, they're just all different shapes and sizes and seem to stretch all the way through the city. I find it really interesting, and so I'm kind of basing a lot of these canals off that. And this one's kind of like a different shape to my regular canals, and they're even kind of built quite differently. But I think like it works a lot better. Like I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. And it's actually quite a wide one. And I really wanted that look of like a green mossiness coming through the water. And actually I've totally stolen this idea from a YouTuber, and I can't actually remember his name. I want to say M Don, something like that, but like I'm pretty sure that's also a friend of mine on Facebook, so like I'm not sure if I'm actually just getting wires crossed, and I don't even have internet, so I can't even check, but I've posted a link just there to his YouTube channel. Yeah, he did this really great effect using their decals, and then they just a little bit below the water level, and I think it just looks really awesome. Just here I'm using like 0.01 of the flowing water function, so like it just trickles a bit of water, and I've placed it on heaps, so it's kind of like the beginning of kind of shows where the water comes from, the canal. You know, it's quite dry along there, but then this water kind of flows really nicely. And I'm also making good use of a lot of the new decals that are out. Like, man, so many good decals out at the moment. I really struggle because I'm mostly trying to delete assets, but every day I download more, which is just painful, but like just so good. So thanks to all those guys who have just been putting in the hard yards, uploading heaps of assets. It's just awesome, really great for us YouTubers. And over here again, building out a lot of the boundaries of this sort of area, and I start shaping where like another tram stop's going to be. That's going to kind of service a lot of the houses around this area, and also an aquarium that I'm going to stick in. Just here I'm putting in like a highway interchange, and I'm kind of going for a particular style. You know, like not every interchange is the same, they're all quite unique and different. And this one I kind of want just to kind of only serve one lane, I guess. And another spot will kind of serve the other lane. So if you want to kind of get on and off on a different side, then it's sort of somewhere else in the city. And that's quite common in a lot of cities. So I'm kind of going for that. And I also have a crack at painting down the line decals on the road. And like a lot of people do this, and I see it and it looks so great. And I totally butcher it. I do such a bad job. I really do. I really do a terrible job. Almost didn't include it in the time lapse, but I just thought, stuff it, I'm gonna do it. And the reason why it's such a bad job is, first of all, it's my first job doing it, and second of all, like I do it and I think, oh, that's all right. And then when I look back and I go like, oh, it's awful. But it's such a hassle deleting all those decals once it's on. I just thought, nah, need to move on. And that leads me to another point. I do, like I'm I do move on a bit in my city. So there is a lot of detail, but like you also have to just move on. Like not every section of this city is going to have as much detail as, I guess, what I'm doing in most of the live play or most of the time lapses. It's just not feasible, and I'll never get this. I'll just never get it done. I'll never get this this city completed, and like realistically, like here we go. This is where it gets bad. Realistically, I would like this city to be finished in a year, and like that already feels like it's cutting it close. But like, you know, it has to, like, I don't think it can go much longer than a year, and I think that's a pretty reasonable deadline. So I am actually trying to cover up a bit of my dodgy line work there using some of these planters that you've probably seen me use quite a lot in other episodes. So, and yeah, because I've moved house, I've had to change internet servers and connectors, and man, it's just such a hassle connecting internet when you move house. Like I've moved 7 or so times and it's always just absolutely painful. And I organised it weeks ago, but it's still stuffed up, and we've got like awful reception in this house. So I'm kind of currently internetless, and any day now I'm waiting for an internet technician to come and sort it out. But my fingers are crossed, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So as I talk, I guess I don't have internet, but at some stage I will, and I'm hoping this episode will be out, you know, sometime that's not so far away. But I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen. So this is my aquarium, and I think it fits in really well with these suburbs. Like I wanted it to be on the edge of the suburbs, but I kind of wanted it to be hidden away a little bit, and I didn't want it to be like a big high rise around this area. Like I wanted it to be quite low, but at the same time I wanted it to be quite wide, like taking up a lot of space. So I think it fits in really well, and it's a vanilla asset, which is which I really like to use. Again, like I try really hard to use as much vanilla assets as possible, because I mean they're already there and it just saves downloading, and when you crop lots of other buildings into it, I think it makes a huge difference. You know, it kind of adds a lot more elements that the vanilla asset doesn't really have. So that's just like something that I do quite a lot. I am constantly trying to save space on my save. Like I think I'm at the moment rocking about 1,300 assets, which no, I don't. No, I've got 950 assets, which I don't think's a lot. I think it's quite that's barely anything. It's barely anything, and like considering how big the city is, and like all the different decals I have, and considering I also have only custom cars driving around. So you know, barely any vanilla cars driving around. Which actually leads me to my next topic. If you've only just been watching me for the very first time, welcome to the channel. But this channel's quite it's a particular build, and I'm going for a 1987 look, 1980s look. So a lot of the cars that are driving around are in fact from the 80s, and I've made sure of that. You know, I'm trying to stick to a particular style, an 80s style, and every now and again, like I might deviate from it just because like a building's just too great to not put into the actual city. It just fits in perfectly. But you know, I guess if you fact checked every asset in my city, you probably find that a lot of buildings are actually like post the 80s. So yeah, so don't start fact checking me. I did kind of prepare myself for that, but I'm glad that no one's done it so far. And just here, I'm actually trying to fill out a little bit of space. I didn't want it to be all car park. I kind of wanted it to have a bit of a industrial area to the actual place. And this is what I'm talking about with the assets here, with the vanilla assets, is that you can actually customize them quite a lot to make them actually stand out and be quite interesting, rather than, because I know that a lot of the vanilla assets are actually quite boring or like quite unrealistic shaped, and you can actually kind of fix them up a bit by just splicing and changing things up. So another thing I want to talk about is, like, I'm really strict with the sort of mods I download, and man, such great mods have come out recently in the last couple of months. For instance, like Metro Overhaul, like just made the Metro lines so pretty, and I think would have really added a lot to my city. And the asphalt mod came out, and was so excited for that when it first came out, because a lot of these sort of areas are could really use a bit of asphalt. And I'm just a bit reluctant to download extra mods, because my CPU I don't think is too crash hot, and my frame rate isn't fantastic in general anyway. So every time you kind of download another mod, it does put strain, and so you kind of got to think, how can I use the game as is to achieve what that mod's actually trying to do. And once I kind of fix a lot of things, then I will kind of download some mods like that. But for the time being, I'm kind of just trying to use the game as it is, as I actually have it in that sort of a style. Like, that's using with the same idea in mind. And another one that was really great is, there's been a couple of mods that came out that you can kind of change vanilla buildings so that they have particular things, like, change like different trees to it, and like get rid of like things that like people add to different assets. And like that was something that I actually really wanted, but just been reluctant to download it, because I don't want too many extra mods. So you might see me use some things and go like, why isn't he just using I don't know, a particular mod? Well, the reason why, I'm just trying to save a bit of my FPS, and yeah, I think I'm going to need it down the track, to be honest. But I am looking at upgrading my computer at some stage, because it's good, but it's not the best. Over here, I'm actually starting to just got to piece together a high school, like a really nice, wealthy high school. And I guess this really highlights what I was talking about with the... So yeah, what I was trying to say was, there's a mod out there, and I can't remember the name because I don't have internet, but the mod out there can hide those ugly vanilla trees that I really hate, but they're just there, and you can't get rid of them unless you have a mod that gets rid of them, which is really awesome if you really want that gone, and you can afford that sort of hit on your CPU. But I'm actually getting to the point where I can't really afford too much hit on my CPU. I don't think it's too crash hot. So I do actually hide a lot of these vanilla trees and ugly props that I don't want, with trees that I do want in the city and props that I do like in the city. So that's just like a little technique that I kind of do to hide some things. And that mod also hides a lot of these car parks that are kind of ugly and annoying and in the way and don't really flow with your city. But I kind of just awkwardly hide them behind trees, or hide them behind other buildings, and I can kind of achieve that a look. And you I don't know, you might agree, you might disagree, but I think in my mind it's a little bit easier on the CPU than downloading extra mods, because as soon as you start letting more mods kind of creep in, then your game just becomes so slow, and you just download all the mods, and you're left with some errors. And trust me, I've been there. So I'm just kind of being a little bit careful. And unless it's a mod that's an absolute game changer, the absolute game changer mod for me was Prop Anarchy. Is just been so awesome. Again, I've talked about it, would have given up on the game 6 months ago if it wasn't for a mod like that. But it just adds so much extra, as you can see what I'm doing right now. So unless a mod's a game changer, I don't really get it. But on the same token, like, I'm still downloading assets every day, so I don't know. I think my system's probably all out of whack. There always just seems to be another great asset out there, which is just painful. Painful and brilliant. So I'm just kind of like I'm making here my kind of, I guess, playing field for this high school. And yeah, this kind of gets me to my next point where, like, this city is very much inspired by Los Angeles and Brooklyn and New York, but like, it's definitely not an American city. And you might be kind of going like, what the hell are you talking about? But in my mind, it's not an American city. Like, in my mind, it's just a city. Like, this game seems to have like a real universal look to cities, and I'm aware that there was a European update and there's been a lot of updates in regards to different sort of styles and countries, but I just think that, like, in terms of just being a city, it's just a city. It doesn't really belong to any sort of country. And I guess, like, a lot of people must look at it and go like, oh, it's clearly an American city. Well, I mean, people are driving on the left hand side, and you know, each field doesn't, like, where's I don't know, where's the, I'm gonna say NRL, but it's not NRL, it's gridiron. Where's the gridiron field and blah blah blah. But I don't know, like, I'm not really that keen to make those sort of playing fields or change the driving. Not that I can change it to right hand lane. It's just like I'm just kind of building. Like, it's not. I'm inspired by a lot in America, but I'm also taking a few things from other places, and I kind of don't really see it as an American city. I don't know why. I just don't. Maybe because I'm an Australian. I can't see past that, but. And it's clearly not an Australian city. Like, we don't build cities like this. So I don't really know what it is. Like, I mean, you can maybe like make a comment below and tell me what you think. Like, do you see it as an American city? I guess it clearly looks like an American city, but I think there are a lot of elements that aren't. So I don't know. I guess it's open for discussion, but I don't know. Like, I just don't see it that way. I'm also. This bit works out so cool, and I'll leave that for the end because it turns out really great. I mean, I'm kind of this is my first like fire station detail, I guess, and I kind of like work some fire truck assets into this, and I think it looks really awesome. And I also make this really kind of interesting corner shop around here that I think turns out really cool, and like I'm really happy with it. These are, again, vanilla buildings that I've ricoed, and like I'm really happy with like this kind of corner shop that I kind of get from it. So again, using a lot of different vanilla assets that are already in the game, don't take up any extra memory unless Rico does something that makes it take up extra room. But as far as I'm aware, like, they exist, so you should try and use them in some sort of sense. And these ones here, all like vanilla assets, and I don't know, I think like they look pretty great. While I'm chatting away, I also wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who kind of answered my question in my last episode. I put it out there just wondering if anybody else out there plays, or who doesn't play City Skylines but watches City Skylines videos, and I got like 20 people just commenting, which is really cool. Like I didn't even think that people even listened that far into my videos, which is really great. So that was a bit of an eye opener. I have to be careful about what I say now because people do actually listen, and it's also like, it's such a bummer that like so many people out there can't actually play the game because of computer problems. It's really sucks. And yeah, it's like, this game like chews up a lot of energy from your computer, and my computer definitely feels it. And I think people do get quite sick of it because, you know, they get a city that works and then an error comes, or like it stuffs up, or they lose frames per second, and like, you know, just bits and pieces that don't really make the game work. And I can see why people just lose interest really quickly. And like I think if I didn't start this YouTube channel, I'm not sure how much longer I would have been playing for, but making these videos is just so great. Like, I'm really into it, and really excited that so many other people are like actually interested in the city and keen to watch and keen to like voice their opinion, which is really great. Down here, I'm actually dragging, and this is what I was gonna say for later, but I'm gonna talk about it now anyway. I'm dragging a footpath through there, and it's really cool. It's like a footpath that kind of connects the high school and a bit of the residential areas to the tram station. And the reason why it's so cool is it's like a shortcut, you know, like they kind of have to like walk through this muddy patch underneath the water tower, and then they cut across the car park, and then they get to the tram stop. And I just think it's really cool. Like it works in the end, and like I'll show you some cinematics with it. And it looks great. Like I'm really happy with how it looks. So just in the last couple of minutes of me talking and jabbering on, I'm actually playing with some different billboards. And I have to just be careful because like I want billboards that are clearly not post-80s, but I also want ones that look really great. And like I've spoken about this before, but billboards add so much to a city. Like I find that if an area is not looking particularly realistic, as soon as I start sticking down some billboards, it just looks awesome. And a fence. Fences always make places look realistic. So kind of like placing down some of them, and I think it turns out really great. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think I might leave you guys in silence for a bit, and I'll chat to you guys towards the end. So yeah. Welcome back, guys, and thanks for sticking around. This is the area of the episode where I like to kind of talk about the styles I was going for and give you a bit of a perspective of where things sit in the city, the things that we actually built. So over there on the right hand side, you can actually see the commercial area from the most recent episode. If you missed it, go and check it out. This is the canal that I stuck in. I'm so happy, especially with the decals, those green mossy decals below, seeping through, and even the streak lines. It's usually a farm decal, but like it works really well, creating that streaky look, showing like a bit of direction of the water. Around here, this is next episode. I'm going to be focusing on that area on the right hand side, but down there on the left, that's where we're building today, and I think it turned out pretty nice. This is just a couple of little areas that I built off camera. There's like a abandoned warehouse down there next to the tram line. I felt like it fitted in pretty nicely, and just kind of filled in a couple of areas with just some generic commercial spots. Like around here, there's some offices that I don't think are particularly that fancy or interesting, but I think they do belong in this area. So I just kind of popped them down, and I thought they looked pretty good there. I'm really happy with just how the areas kind of turned out, especially like the suburbs. Like, I think their buildings look like exactly what I'm going for. You can see the people kind of creeping through the parking lot there and like along underneath the water tower. Like I love stuff like that. I think it looks so awesome. I think it fits in really nicely, and yeah, it just kind of adds a lot of character, kind of adds a bit of a story to the city, which is what I'm going for. It's totally what I'm going for in the city, is a bit of story. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks heaps for sticking around, and all those people answering my question last week. That was really great. And if you haven't already, check out my Twitter. I'm kind of posting teasers and other crap about my life. So if you're kind of interested in that, definitely go and check that out. And next episode, we'll kind of stick around this area and flesh it out a bit more, add in a lot of suburbs, which is what I'm after. And anyway, I'll catch you guys next episode. See ya.